What?
Rolling. Oh, we don't have to wait anymore because we control. Hello. Welcome back to the Sex Ed for You podcast with Lauren and Holland.
Where research meets reality. This is a podcast for people who want to date and have great sex that is safe, fun, and enjoyable.
We really want to empower our listeners to make values-based choices that align with themselves and lead to, what is the line? We want you to make informed decisions that leads to values-based living. That's all. We just want you to have great sex that feels, like you.
Yeah.
That's all.
Awesome.
That's
Easy.
all. I'm a certified holistic sexuality educator. Oh, that's the other thing we had to talk about.
You?
No, your title change.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Okay, sorry. And I own and educate here.
She does. It's Sex Ed for You. And my name is Holland, and I am officially the Chief Culture and Content Coordinator.
Ooh.
Sexy. Look at all those C's, baby. Y'all know, if there's one thing about me, I love alliteration.
I think all humans do. Maybe you guys can put that in the comments below.
Right.
Do you hate or love alliterations? Because I love them.
I love them. I literally remember in 4th grade learning what alliteration was. And I was like, this is the best thing that's ever existed.
I love it. It feels tangible to me. I love alliterations and acronyms.
I do love acronyms. The fact that y'all didn't call it Cephi till I got here is wild.
Now everybody calls it Cephi, and I'm
Cephi.
like, oh, that's funny. I had never called it Cephi. No, never.
Yeah.
When I used to run a nonprofit, people had they would always abbreviate that into its acronym too, and I never did.
Huh.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
But alliterations, the Chief Culture and Content Coordinator. Yeah. How do you feel about this job title? Update the people.
yeah, I love this job title. We pondered hard, long and hard, hard and long.
That's what she said.
That is what she said. Yeah, I really like it. I think it's really funny because you and I are really good at making up names, which is entertaining.
To the world of business.
Yeah.
People making shit up.
We're just figuring things out as we go. I really enjoy it. If you don't know why my title changed, go watch last episode. You will find out. I really like it. I feel like it's very representative of what I do. Mm-hmm. And it feels, God, what a weird situation in which to use, but it feels consensual and it feels just accurate, which is fun. I like when things are correct. So
yeah, we both do. And I think that's where we were feeling bitterness and frustration before, is that it didn't feel in alignment.
Right.
We like informed decisions that lead to values-based living. Even if I can't say the tagline, we do like that. And so I was telling a client today that I believe that all of the sex education we do should bleed over into how we function inside of partnerships and business and everything, parenting, you name it. And this feels aligned.
Yeah.
It feels aligned with your skills and your talents. We're not all good at everything, and that's okay. Yeah, today I reconciled our QuickBooks, and I had so much fun. I was literally telling some friends of mine on Marco Polo because they were asking, we always ask each other a question of the day. And one of them said, what is something your little self would be so excited that you're doing now? And growing up, I was told that numbers were hard. Money was hard. And just it's okay. One day you'll have a man to take care of that. And you don't need to worry your little brain about it. And yet, ironically, at the same time, I loved math. I was good at math. And so when I was reconciling QuickBooks today and I found the two things that were in the wrong place and they negated out and then everything was zero and everything was aligned, I was literally on a high. And it was the same thing I used to have when I would solve the problem correctly in advanced calculus. And I loved it. And I thought, yeah, see, this is why it's okay to renegotiate things within business, because people should be doing things that they like. Because I don't think felt that way.
No.
With reconciling QuickBooks.
Not even a little. But I'm so glad that you, and when you sent me that text, I got it. I was at my other job. I work as a baker in a bakery.
I don't mind texting her happy things.
Yeah, no.
Because we've mentioned on here before that I didn't want to text you in the middle of work. Okay.
But happy things. And Yeah. Different days are slower at the bakery, and today was one of them. And so it was just really nice to pick up my phone and see that you said, like, I had so much fun doing that. And I was like, oh, thank God, because I hated that. Like, I truly hated that. And having that off my plate has been incredible. And I feel so capable of what my job description is.
Well, and you've been killing it. And what I've seen and witnessed is in the taking off the things that felt cumbersome, burdensome to you. I have seen you surge ahead in the stuff that comes easy to you. Yeah. And it's like my body has been like, there she is. Like,
she's back.
There it is. Like this kind of like running. And I bet it's like, I've never ran, so I don't know. Runners tell me, like running with a running buddy who's like at your pace,
right? As
opposed to someone who's not. There's nothing wrong with people who are faster and slower, but you do try to pick a running buddy who runs at the same pace as you. And so this felt like the past week has felt like, oh yeah, there we are, like running and being like, hey this, hey that. Yeah, and I just thought, and it is good. One of the things you had said on the last podcast was, I have so much historical knowledge and understanding behind the money aspect of the business. And it's okay for me to go, yeah, no, I should have had that. Like as chief financial officer, if you want to say that, should have my hands on. Oh yeah, where did we spend all our money this month? And when you're reconciling, you're looking at that stuff and you're like, oh God, yeah.
Whereas those numbers didn't really mean a lot to me.
Yeah. No, and I'm like, oh no, not okay. That we had this little thing, we need to cancel that subscription. Like I just made little notes like that too. And that's good. Like that's okay. And until we have a chief financial officer, I need to be that.
And you're good at it.
I enjoy it.
Yeah.
In human design, I have gate 1 and gate 2. Gate 1 is the visionary gate, but gate 2 is the administrative gate. And so it is this really interesting juxtaposition of right brain, left brain, whatever you want to say. I really do love the admin part. We had a free consult yesterday, and they were saying, I always say, okay, this is how we're going to do the consult. You're going to share what brought you here. Then I would like a chance to share how I do my work. You can ask any questions. Then we'll talk about money, because money is only awkward if we don't talk about it. And then we'll close out with next steps. How does that feel in your body? They're always like, oh, that's nice. And then when I go through how we run our business and how client work works, I always pause and say, what questions do you have? And this person goes, Lauren, I work in HR. And that was so well explained. I have no questions. And she was like frantically taking notes. And I was like, oh. She goes, well done. Like, wow. Okay. I was like, oh, yeah. I really love the admin part. Yeah. I do. And that's okay.
Good. And I truly have felt like I'm hitting my stride again, too. I think that's been super important. Like retitling, renegotiating, all of this work that we've done in the past 2 weeks has like emboldened me to do the things that I know that I do well. Because I think my failings were holding me back, because I was like, well, I can't do that because I haven't done this yet and I'm not good at that yet and I need to work on that. Whereas now I'm like, oh, like I can do this and I can do it fucking well and I can crush it. And speaking of,
so this chief culture and content coordinator was really important, because what I did is look back on what has she always brought. And the culture piece, we really wanted to wrap in, because Holland has always brought some youth to my old age. So she's always brought in this younger demographic, this younger view of human sexuality, but then also has really cared about the culture of the business. So we wanted culture to kind of hit on both culture, like having the pulse on the culture at large, but then also the culture and care and nurturance of our clients, because that has always been something that you're really good at, interacting with partners and things like that. So culture was important, but then content, she's always been contributing content since the OG days, but she's recently really wanted to step it up. So yeah, talk to us about what these people are just now hearing about.
So most people know about Sex and the City. I never watched Sex and the City growing up, but got into like the Carrie Diaries when that came out, and then got into Sex and the City, and have always loved and hated Carrie. She is a myriad of things, and confusing is one of them, and consensual communication is not her strong suit. And as I watched the Carrie Diaries, have always sat there and been like, I could do this better. Like I can give the perspective and the openness about sex and sexuality and culture and the importance of dating and the beauty of of having kind of like this bird's eye view that I always talk about. Like, I know that that is something that has been gifted to me, and I can use that to do what she's doing better. And so we're doing it. We're doing it. We are going to start having a blog. It's actually already out by the time this episode airs. The first post will be out. It is about dirty talk, and it is called the 7 Secrets to Devious Dirty Talk. So if you are intrigued, great, because that's also the topic of today's episode.
It's, to me too, it just lights me on fire because everybody in here knows we love human design. And projectors are really gifted, as you said, at perceiving what culture needs, what human relationships need. And not only you're a projector, you're a 2-4 projector, and they thrive on relationships and community. And projectors have a finite amount of energy. So it has always been my interest in, as we run this business, of what can Holland do that simultaneously harnesses her wisdom and her ability to perceive in, but doesn't drain her battery, like that she could do from bed, right? She could do sitting at my dining room table, and that still gets to speak wisdom to the world. And so, yeah, when she first told me, I was like, this is genius. And there are so many human beings out there who prefer to read content as opposed to take in their content visually in this like platform or auditorially on a listening. So it makes me super excited for those people too. And I just read her first article, and it's so good. It's so good. And she's always been a great writer. And I mean, it's the very first thing I experienced of you was your writing, because that's how I met you, was through a powerful email and cover letter. So she's a great writer, easy to read, but also like highly helpful. Like, it's education. You did a really good job. I started crying while reading out of pride, not out of like emotional. It's very funny and lighthearted. And so shout out to you for hearing something that you did want and saying it. And you don't know this, but that was a part of that week too, because you said that on Tuesday before the things. And I just remember feeling in my gut, like, I hear what she wants to do, and then I hear all the things that are not getting done, and how does this work? And we always say to our clients, it's not what you don't want, it's what do you want instead. Is our place of business always able to give us all the things that we want? No, they're not. Sometimes we have to change jobs. But it's a very important conversation to have. And I'm really proud of you. I really am. And we're going to try to be really good marketers and like use it as social content and talk about it here. And if you don't subscribe to our email list, you really should, because you'll get them first. And yeah, the people who are on our email list got it last week. So you should do that, so you're informed of all the cool stuff. Yeah, and I think that it's a modality that you could really lean into that feels aligned with you.
Yeah.
Which makes me very excited. So we thought that we could spend a little time on this podcast talking about dirty talk and talking about, since we are research meets reality, some reality times of where dirty talk failed us, and not failed us, where we had an accident or a boo-boo and we're like, wow, that did not work. Or something someone has told us, or something we've told somebody where, I don't know, it's a little uncomfy. And I can go first unless you have something amazing.
I don't have one off the top of my head, so I would love to hear your most recent.
This was just funny because I haven't really told this story yet. And sorry, not sorry, oh partner of mine. Okay. So, oh my God, this is so funny. I obviously spend my days as a sexuality educator, and I say lots of anatomical things all day. I say lots of explicit things all day. I say lots of words that everybody uses for body parts, for the act of sexual interaction. Never have I ever found a time where my sweet partner was uncomfortable with any of these things. Never. Like, it's just never happened. He's really open-minded. He's a highly sexual person. It has just never happened. And then the other day, we were having a sexual encounter. I'm trying to decide how much I want to share about this because, okay, let's go. We were on a staycation and we were having a sexual encounter in our private bedroom. And Trey said, sorry, Trey. We were in a sexual encounter. I had just orgasmed, and he was basically trying to say, I'm not going to come inside of you so you don't have to worry with cleanup. Like,
Okay.
so basically was trying to say, I'm going to pull out.
Okay.
Okay, great. I said, like, okay or good. Again, like a dirty talky
Yeah,
little
like
thing.
a dirty talky thing.
Then I thought he said, yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear this.
This has been on repeat in my head for the past 4 days.
What
I'm
did
so
he
glad
say?
it goes. This is what I really hear him say. Yeah. I don't want to leave you with a cunt full of cum. So in my mind, I'm like, wow, he's never said that before. And
Bringing
I'm
out the words.
okay. And I go, yeah. Responding again. This is where dirty talk is so funny. Yeah. Yeah.
Because outside of context, it's horrible.
Yeah. I go, yeah, you don't want to leave me with. I just repeat it back because this is a great dirty talk thing. If somebody says something, you can just repeat it back. Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, you don't want to leave me with a cunt full of cum. And he goes, what?
I can see Trey just flipping out. Like,
he's like on top of me, y'all. I wish you could say this. He goes, what? And I was like, I'm sorry, what did you say?
What?
And he said, I can't go to bed with a cock full of cum. Why is it so much better? I don't know. And I don't even know how that really fit into the context. I guess whatever it did. So then, y'all, then this happens. So now I'm like just shaking with laughter. We wrap up the sexual encounter, so proud of us because, wow, we were about to not get there. And they were about to fall asleep. And I'm like, yeah. Like, I'm so glad you didn't leave me with a cunt full of cum. And he rolls over and he goes, babe, you cannot say that. And I was like, why? And he goes, that is so, and I'm just giggling because I say the word cunt as a reclamation every day with people.
I say like serve cunt.
Betty Dodson talks about cunt positivity, reclaiming it. I talk with clients, shout out, about like grounding our pelvic floor into the chairs that we're sitting within, feel our contact against the chair. I don't like when people call somebody a cunt because I don't like how we're taking female anatomy and making it derogatory. I don't. And he knows this. And I say this all the time. And he's like, yeah. And so, yeah, he's like, it's just what he might have said crass. He might have said vile, not vile. It was like he was so offended. Like it had crossed the dirty line in his mind. And it was just so precious and hilarious. And now I keep working it in all the time. Just to like shake him up a little bit. And it's funny. It's hilarious to me.
So, okay, I have a question. How do I phrase this question? Let me think. Why is it okay for you to work in the word cunt around him? Like, what boundaries have y'all set? It's clearly not.
As I said that, I thought
triggering for him.
Be nice. We've talked about on several different instances now, but I should check in with him on this, that his use of cunt has always been derogatory.
Okay.
And so his connection to the word is still derogatory. And I've said several times, I don't like it, that it is. Because it's a piece of the female anatomy. And he's talked about, well, people do the same thing with dick. And I've said, yeah, I don't like that either. Like as a sexuality educator, I don't like it when we use genitalia as negative slurs because we're already dealing with so much shame as a culture. That is a personal practice of mine, that we can use these pieces beautifully and with passion. But to be derogatory about it, it doesn't feel aligned with me. So I've said this, but yeah, now I need to check in with him and see, because I don't know. It might be triggering in some way or just a boundary of his. And I don't know. I think for me, it feels like since it's a part of my anatomy, I feel like I can push it further, but you're right. I maybe shouldn't.
I'm curious now.
Because he is equal parts. I'm curious what he would say to you. Like
maybe
mortified that he said it is almost what like comes over him. So maybe it's me trying to do exposure therapy. Yeah. But that's not, I haven't consensually agreed to do that. So
that's what conversation's for. Because I hadn't thought about the equivalent of it, because I call people a dick often. So maybe I should check myself on that, because I truly use the word like
learning in real time.
Yeah. I literally used it last night. We're watching this show called Below Deck Mediterranean. And I was like, is he being a dick? Because I had left the room and I heard like one of the characters making kind of like some chitter chatter. And I was like, oh, is he being a dick? And like, I
to each
probably
his own.
should. Now,
To each
no,
his
but
own.
now I'm like, oh,
I just, in a lot of the texts that I would read, and especially Dr. Laurie Mintz and the end of Becoming Clitorate has these 12 like commandments for orgasm and gender equality. It's just so cool. But yeah, she talks about that if we are going to reclaim sexual pleasure as a people, we have to start looking at all of the ways in which we are negative all the time and about these types of things. It's just something that I like to challenge myself with of, well, does it go both ways, which is what you just did to me. Like, why do you get to push into Trey? Because if he was doing the same thing to you, isn't that not nice?
Right.
So I'm so thankful that you said that, because even as the words were coming out of my mouth, I'm like,
I saw it kind of like register on your face. I was like,
This is why it's good to say these things out loud.
Yeah. And I had a friend in college. This was my first introduction to, it was kind of right around that turning point where I was realizing words are really powerful. I can take control of my own life. It was a very large transitional period. And I was introduced to a friend who was super sex positive. We worked at a coffee shop together. She would go to, she would go to like, not sex parties, but like there was some kind of club with consensual sexuality and like nakedness and beauty. And she was a bigger person, and she was always into like finding people who had fat kinks because she loved to be praised for her beautiful big ass body, and she fucking loved it. And it was incredible. And so she introduced me to a ton of beautiful things. And she was just this like outgoing, colorful makeup, incredible woman. And I learned one day on the job, I've known her for 6 months. We would talk about the most insane things behind this barista counter. And then one day I like jokingly called her a bitch. It was like, oh, you bitch, or something like that. I use the word very like, not colloquially, but like kindly. I use it as like a term of endearment. And she was like, oh, don't call me that. And I was like, oh, can you tell me more? And it was kind of the first time where I'd run in, and I wasn't expecting that from her. And so she corrected me and was like, please don't call me that. And she just had trauma with the word. Yep. And so I was like, oh, that's completely new to me. And she was like, you can call me fat. You can call me this. You can like, went down. She was like, all these derogatory terms, I love them, but do not call me bitch. And I was like, okay, great. Yeah. Like, thank you so much for communicating that to me. 'Cause I had no idea at all.
Words are so powerful, and we each get to reclaim or say no thank you to words. And so I should check in with that sweet little husband of mine to make sure this isn't triggering something for him. And I've shared, and he would never police my words. Like, he would never say that I can't use cunt positivity or to use the word with clients when we're trying to push into different feelings towards certain words about especially female genitalia. There's just so little depiction of normal vulvas that, we do as much as we can and work with female-bodied people. Yeah. But anyway, just hilarious. How I misheard him. Funny. And he thought he was saying something dirty. I thought he was saying something else dirty. I repeated it back to him, and then I shook him.
Absolutely shook him. We're clearly hard of hearing in this household.
Shook him.
I do not have... I'm sure I do like have little instances of accidental vocal things happening in the bedroom. I know I do. I just don't remember any that are absolutely hilarious off the top of my mind. But I did see, this is actually what sparked the journal article, or not the journal article, the article that I just put out, and is available on our website. But what sparked the idea for it was I saw an Instagram reel that was a clip of a podcast. And I don't remember what podcast it was, but I think Hannah Berner was on it. I'll go find it. Some Hannah. I do too. And she was talking about how when women say, come for me, they're essentially saying, I want this to be done with. Yes. And so that's what sparked it. Because I was like, no. Don't take my dirty talk away from me. Because I have used that and might continue to. You will never know. But I think that little term, that little phrase can be really hot, and some people love it. It could also, however, mean, yes, I'm done. I want to tap out. But why are we not in relationships and in intimate encounters where we feel comfortable enough to say things like, I'm done. Yes. Pull out. I would like to be finished. Yes. The end, you know?
Right. My body is at this point ready for a different position. Yeah.
Or just I'm done. You can always just be like, yeah, I'm not liking this anymore. Or
Always.
maybe
Consent
it
can
needs
always
more
be
lube.
revoked.
Yeah. Like there's so many other options, but it was totally sparked because they were all like, no, if I'm saying come for me, it means I'm out.
Wow.
So I was curious to see like your thoughts.
You know what immediately I think is there's, not any sexual communication there. Someone is enduring and tolerating. Yes. That's immediately what I thought. There's this new spectrum of consent that one of my professors in the new certification that I'm doing used, which is really helping me. So imagine wanting is this like big full circle, like, yes, I want, right? Then willing is almost like an almost full moon. Okay. So there's like just a little slight out of it. And it's like, I do want this. I mean, I'm willing, but I need more encouragement, right? I'm willing. I'm not quite there, but yes, willing. Then there's tolerating, which is imagine like a crescent moon. And that is like, I really wish we were doing something else. Okay. And then there's enduring, which is like that sliver, like the tiniest bit of moon. And that is, I don't feel like I can say, I want something different. Or I don't feel like I can say no. All of these are not no. They are a spectrum of consent. And what I think is fascinating is that we have to be the ones to say, no, you may not, or I want, or will you? But that's hard. It's really hard to change. Can we change positions? Is there anything I can do to make this more comfy for you? This is feeling really great. Yeah, I'm ready for a new position. I'd like to be done now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if our body is in a position where we're done now, probably means we've been enduring or tolerating for a long time.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, no, y'all, when you're in a willing space, move more into wanting. We don't need to be enduring and tolerating in sexual encounters. So then we're having to use code words. I think dirty talk, you tell me what you think. I don't think dirty talk should be an excuse for poor sexual communication.
Elaborate.
If we're too scared to say what we really want, and so instead we're faking an orgasm, we're fake arching our back, we're fake moaning, we're saying come for me when really we just want it to be done. I think it should enhance our already empowered communication, not be the way we get around having to actually say what we want.
Right.
What do you think?
No, I think you're fully correct.
Or am I just being judgy your son?
No, I think you have made a good point. From my personal perspective, I'm getting a little dark here, trigger warning. I have used those things to accelerate a situation that felt unsafe.
Yes.
So yes, but also you don't want to be in a situation where you don't feel safe.
Well, but he talked about this on the spectrum of consent, and that tolerating place is sometimes because we don't feel safe enough to say no.
Yeah.
And we have to give grace to those in so many bodies that have been sexual encounters where they did not feel safe enough to say no.
So I think shifting my perspective from you don't need to do that anymore to like using dirty talk in a way that feels consensual and safe and fun and sexy.
Yeah.
Because there's definitely been a learning curve for me to go from I'm doing this because I know that that's what he wants, that's what's going to get me out of the situation, and that's what's going to keep me safe from getting like physically harmed, not just sexually harmed. So moving from that place into like a place of this is for fun and for enjoyment has been a journey for me. And I think that we're all kind of somewhere on that spectrum too, especially as female-bodied people or people who have been through trauma. Like you can definitely, I can feel myself sometimes slipping into it's just easier to do this instead of communicating what I need or communicating what I want because I know that this will work. And so I think being very conscious of your own perspective, your own feelings, your own kind of mental state in sexual encounters can be really important, but also just acknowledging the safety you feel within relationship. I mean, that was a big part of the article that you just read that I wrote is like, if you don't feel safe doing a lot of these things, if you don't feel safe laughing through a mistake or asking what your partner likes, then we have bigger things to consider than should I be doing dirty talk? It's should I be in this relationship?
Yep. Which is hard. And maybe that could be the follow-up conversation, like in a separate podcast, because I think that's a beautiful nuance. But what made me smile just now is that Elizabeth Lesser says in Cassandra Speaks, and we read this in Hemlock last year, that our scars can be doors, that part of reclaiming our sexuality is standing proudly in the fact that, yeah, we did learn some of these things to be safe, and they get to come with us. And I was thinking that's part of your magic now. Like you just wrote an article about things that are, in some ways, direct experience. And that part of the reclamation of our bodies and our words and our sex is to say, no, pleasure is the greatest antidote to pain. And you, motherfucker, who tried to take something from me, no. I am going to stand in the power. And it just made me really proud of you. And I hope others hear that too, that just because it was used once before in a different way, it can be in a healthy relationship brought back and used in an empowering way that is devious and dirty and all of the amazing erotic containers that we talk about inside of partnership where you feel heard and valued. And yeah, some people love to be degraded during sexy times and also highly respected in their regular partnership. And that works. We love that paradox here.
Yep. We love all the paradoxes.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
Just make me proud of you.
Thank you. No, it has been really cool for me to see a lot of the tools, to be quite frank, a lot of the manipulation that I learned in childhood and in toxic relationship has really become my superpower. My ability to see what people want out of a situation, my ability to read people in general and not use that for survival anymore, more so using it as like, let me write about this. Let me like explain these perspectives and show people how to think from bird's eye view, think from other people's perspectives, put yourself in their shoes, like learning to shift this from truly manipulative traits that I have had and that I intrinsically have into knowledge and education has been really, really cool.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
We're going to wrap it up now.
Yep.
Wow. Thanks for coming to this episode of Sex Ed for You, where research meets reality. You can click below to get access to Holland's debut article for Sex Ed for You. It will be going out to email subscribers as soon as they are published. The publishing schedule will be released soon. We like to ease into things here at Sex Ed for You, or Seffi. But if you are on our email list, which you can do when you click the link below, you'll get first access, and that's the best way to do that. And we love having email lists. Instagram and all socials can be so shady sometimes, and they like to shadow ban us and block us. Oh, they lifted our thing. Yeah, we're no longer hidden from other people.
Thank God.
Which is lovely. But yeah, it's going to be really cool to see how your writing like wraps in with all of this. Remember, these are just opinions, as Holland was saying so wisely, right? There's so many emotional layers and so much work to do on all of these things. Take what you like, leave the rest. You have a right to informed decision making. You have a right to self-determination. If you ever have feedback for us on different things, we are fully accessible. How can they get in touch with us?
They can get in touch with us by sending me an email at admin@sexedforyou.com. You can follow us on Instagram at sex_ed_for_you, or you can go to our website, sexedforyou.com/free consult if you want to schedule one of those. And I would just like to also add that there's going to be fun little discounts and worksheets and all sorts of fun things in these blog posts. So really, you should sign up for that email list because they're going to be limited. There's only a few. So you want to be one of the first ones there so that you can get all the goodies.
We don't send out like blasty emails. Like sign up for this, do this. That's not it. But we would like to provide you with good, juicy stuff to learn because education's our jam and we're nerds.
Yep.
And you're welcome.
And I'll be sending you my sources, my ideas, some Sex in the City episodes to watch.
It's just going to be good.
It's going to be really good.
Yay. Thanks for being here, y'all.
Bye. Bye-bye.